tower relatively early, and then once you do Ganon's tower, you're right there on the pyramid, or right there on the castle by it, and you don't have to climb the mountain again.
And we're off. Heart piece early on. Rywek going with the same opening he had last time, where he tried to get a kill. He got a kill, and is going to pull this statue and see what supplies he gets out of it.
And just get some arrows, which is not at all what you're looking for, but, you know, if they find an early bow, that'll be nice. And Rywek also following along over to Stumpy as sonicam did, gonna get another piece of heart, so nothing of value in the first 2 item location checks here.
Yeah, the key, one of the things you first notice when you start playing Inverted is just how limited your opening options are. And anything you can do, like tree pulls or maybe just getting a lucky 20 drop off an enemy, you're gonna want to do to try and open up some options in the scene.
And that was a brief glimpse at the fire rod chilling up on the bumper cave ledge. So that works a little bit differently in Inverted. You actually have to get to the light world, go to the normal Death Mountain Ascent cave, go through it with the cape, and then mirror over to get that item. So it's not something they'll be seeing anytime very soon.
So Rywek's going to use these couple of pots here to start farming up some bombs. sonicam is just going to explore Skullwoods normally to start.
Yep, starting at that little big chest drop is pretty nice if you plan to Death Warp, get some extra bombs. If you're gonna just grab the bombs that you got, exploring it a little bit more normally is probably about the same. So far, just keys and dungeon items here in Skullwoods. sonicam has to go through the bumper room here, since there was no key on the left side.
Yeah, Rywek found the key on the right side when he... Although, it looks like sonicam's going to steal this key. Or, well, I'm not sure if he intended to die there, but he did.
Rywek walking out, taking a second fall down the hole here instead of Death Warp. I personally would have chosen the Death Warp a little bit quicker and fills your health automatically, but this way here is just a little bit smoother movement.
Yep. And he's not going to try a bomb jump on 3 hearts and just going to find the power glove in the big chest of Skullwoods.
So there's our first real item, so to speak. That's a nice grab, nothing immediately unlocked by it, but you want it as soon as possible. One option that is available now is they could sequence break up Death Mountain doing the Old Man Dark Room, and then use that to go check Super Bunny Cave and the inside of Spectacle Rock, which are both options as a bunny.
That's awfully ambitious. Oh, excuse me. That's awfully ambitious here in the early going. Looks like Rywek's going to see what he can find here in the village of Outcast, and not going to try the center room of Skullwoods.
Yeah, I like the safe play here coming down there, and it rewards him with the first sword, so we already have a weapon, which means if we get to do 3 Heart Blind this morning, it's not going to be so bad. And a little bit of divergence. Rywek doing Village of Outcasts, the sonicam heading straight over to Hype Cave, going to check the 5 items hidden away in here.
Yeah, I like this Hype Cave play here. Let's see. Hopefully it'll pay out for him. Looking at a full heart, followed by 3 bombs, 5 rupees, 10 arrows, and the lamp. Hey, there we go. That was a thing.
Yep, and meanwhile, Rywek finding the Titan's Mitt over in the chest game. So now we got some stuff we can do up on Death Mountain. Not a sequence break anymore. We just got a lot we can do up there.
Yeah, if the Pearl's not here in Thieves, it's probably going to be somewhere up on the mountain. But Rywek is going to at least explore the first 4 of Thieves.
I'm just going to be over here quietly rooting for the Moon Pearl on the floating island, because that's my favorite inverted pearl location.
I don't even want to know how that's possible, but okay.
It involves having to walk through Paradox Cave as a bunny, which is not always fun. There's a hookshot as well, and this is worth noting, Pendant Thieves Town. We can tell from the music that this is not a crystal dungeon. It's all dungeons, so they gotta do it anyway, but worth remembering what's a pendant, what's a crystal. Rywek tried to check the stun prize there, but it kind of spawned out underneath the platform, and then he hookshotted just a little bit too early to grab it, so he couldn't really tell what it was.
It's always a good idea to try and get as much information as you can. Looks like the stun prize is going to be 20 rupees. Hey, which is really nice, except he also put the 20 rupees behind a torch that he cannot reach.
That would be the one advantage of having a boomerang, is I think it could have grabbed that.
Yeah, one of the little changes to hard mode is boomerangs don't stun, hookshots do. So the best boomerang and the worst boomerang are practically useless.
If I know there was some conversation in the Discord a couple days, maybe about a week ago, about people suggesting changing that so that the boomerang still quote-unquote stuns, but for 0 seconds, so it can be used for knockback and kind of give it some value. But in this version, at least, it just is pretty much useless.
So we're getting a question in chat about Paradox Cave. Paradox Cave is the 7-item cave on East Death Mountain that has an entrance at the very bottom, in the middle, and then up at the top, and that gets you all the way through the light side of Death Mountain. And the reason it's called Paradox Cave is because the bottom entrance goes to the middle of the cave, and the middle entrance goes to the bottom of the cave, which probably means it was misprogrammed. But it was 1991, so we're not going to worry about that, and we're just going to say they wanted it to be a paradox, hence Paradox Cave.
Maybe it was just the early attempt by the developers of making an entrance randomizer, and then they kind of gave up but didn't remove that part. So we are headed to the back of Thieves Town now. Like I said, with having that sword, blind is a scripted fight, so it's not as scary on 3 hearts, but it's by no means free. You're still very possibly able to have something go wrong and have this turn into a nightmare.
So 3 bombs, hook shot, I think shield. Is that 3 of the 4 items here so far in Thieves?
I believe that's 4, and with Rywek skipping the big... Or no, he doesn't have the hammer. I want to say that's 4, but it might only be 3. Should see soon enough. Phase 1 of blind, perfect by Rywek. Let's see, phase 2 is also usually pretty consistent. 3 is where things can go wrong.
But Rywek keeps his composure, and he's going to get the first dungeon kill of the match, and there is going to be an item in the Thieves' big chest.
Oh, that is the worst feeling when you get through Thieves' Town. It's like, oh, there's an item left. Oh no. Yeah, that was right. There was, I thought there was another item in one of the chests, but watching back on sonicam, getting it was actually the map, so that was not as lucky for them as I hoped.
So Rywek's going to give us our first look at the digging game here, using the money he acquired from the stun prize. 80 rupees this costs.
Yep, and you usually make your money back unless it's a really quick payout, which it was pretty quick and a pretty bad payout. sonicam starting the blind fight with 1 extra heart. It's going to go for the same scripted fight that Rywek had. Try to knock blind out just as quickly and smoothly.
Let's see, 7. Oh, that got a hit there. Careful. Okay, he got out of there anyway. So that got a little away from him, but he got the kill anyway. And 11 minutes in, we're going to be tied at 1. Rywek picks up his lamp here in Hype Cave, and he should be first up the mountain by about 20 seconds.
Yep, difference being the extra walk over to the west that sonicam had to take by doing Hype Cave before doing Village of Outcasts. We'll go get his disappointment at the digging game, and then be making the same play up the mountain because it's the only play they have left. Incidentally, for those who are not in the know of Inverted, because there is no barrier in front of Ganon's tower, when you go up the mountain, Aghanim's tower is already in logic. They could be forced to do that for a Light World Bunny gathered Moon Pearl. And sonicam taking some extra time over in the digging game, gonna run out this clock digging up more rupees, so he is in a much better financial position than Rywek is.
I am a little surprised why Rywek didn't either keep digging or maybe go to the archery game to restock, but he knows the stun prize is a big 20, so he's probably going to rely on that for his money needs.
Yeah, and for the most part, the only thing they have left to spend much money on is Bottle Vendor, Pod Entry, and the and King Zora. Zora, you're going to hope for more money than you would have gotten out of the digging game anyway. Bottle Vendor, you've got enough for, and if you get to Pod, you can use the stun prize to get what you need.
Bottle number 1 has a bee coming out of the old man's pocket, and Rywek's gonna work his way up. Let's see, up to Spectacle Rock.
Barely making it through.
Yep. Question chat: How do you get to that fire rod location? Exactly as described. Yes, you go to the Light World Death Mountain entrance is now Bumper Cave. So you go through Bumper Cave as normal, and then mirror from the top of ledge there to get to the fire rod.
And we find another heart piece in Spectacle Rock, as well as a hint that says the lamp requires a bomb. Thanks, buddy.
A lamp-locked lamp hint? Thanks.
Not gonna lie, a small part of me is gonna be disappointed when the hint system is reworked in V31 and the potential that isn't a thing anymore.
Well, hints aren't going to be as fun if they're not, if they're smarter. I mean, they'll be more useful, but we don't need that.
I am in agreement. There's been a good amount of laughs in this tournament of hints that were just kind of very comically placed. Now, heading over to Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave, trying to do damage boost strats. I don't know if he actually did that intentionally or just didn't press Y when he went to for the hookshot, but takes the death and has to climb the mountain again.
Yeah, I think he was probably way too close to those Lionels to get a hookshot shot off. So unfortunate there for him, but not a big deal. We'll just go up and try again.
And that death alone has actually pretty much bridged the gap between these two. They're now about maybe 5 seconds apart. So having a encounter 2 with Lionels, let's see who wins this time. There, gets the hookshot off and just walks right by him.
Those are some long-lasting iframes on sonicam's side, but he's able to get through that one okay.
Yeah, I'm legitimately not sure if that was just long-lasting iframes or if he just managed to somehow frame rule right through that fireball. And we did see that T-Rock requires Quake. Not that you usually need the medallion to do anything in Turtle Rock and Inverted, but it's useful to know just in case. $300, 10 arrows, and 5 rupees so far in Hookshot Cave. And that's another 5, so we are very, very slim on locations the Moon Pearl could be. Rywek gonna go check the floating island, the other option being going through Aghanim to explore some of the light world.
Yeah, this is where the routing gets. This is where the routing is just going to get strange. There's going to be so when we do see most of the light world, if you haven't seen an inverted seed before, you're going to see that VTorp and company have done some infrastructure projects around the place, putting in some ramps, some stairs, some bridges here and there to make all the normally mirror locked spots accessible, and that is the flippers on the that's interesting.
Well, that gives them access to the East Dark World, so they can get to Pod and Catfish now.
Wait a minute, is this a Moon Pearl on Pyramid?
It could be. They can also get into Ice Palace as it is, but they can't get past the first room since they don't have Bombos or Fire Rod to melt the Freezors with. Oh, and sonicam choosing to go check out this middle room of Skull Woods here.
Well, there is still an item left back here, so we're in no reason it can't be here. He's gonna work his way around the Gibdo, through the spike, and to just a small key. So, nope, second item's in the back.
Now, I'm hoping that sonicam is aware that Floating Island is in logic with their items. Because if those flippers are required to progress and he goes the Aghanim route instead, that could pose him some problems.
That's the mirror. So so that's the mirror sitting on the pyramid. Mirror works a little different in inverted. It takes you from the light world back to the dark world. But does it open anything right now?
And Rywek choosing not to go to Catfish or to Pod, just taking that mirror and heading up to Aghanim as well. So yeah, the mirror itself didn't open anything naturally, but by doing Aghanim, it opens quite a few things. But yeah, I'm somewhat concerned for sonicam right now, just because he's now, and he was up on the mountain, he had the only real good opportunity to do that floating island check, and didn't. That could come back to bite him.
So we're going to get a pair of Aghanim's tower climbs. Rywek opting not to go Catfish or Pod to get either of those options. So it looks like we're just going to keep at this little pace here. So since we're going to hit a little bit of a lull in the action, we'd like to remind you to go ahead and follow our very talented runners, Rywek and sonicam. We're going to put those links in chat now.
These guys are both fantastic and well-deserving of their spot in the brackets. I have personally raced both of them countless times and know just how good they are. And Sonic is getting a little bit low on health, but takes out these two red guards, gonna check this hint tile to find out that some cash can be dug up. Thanks, buddy. You're getting some world-class hints on this seed so far. So, a follow-up on a couple things from chat. One, yes, this is all dungeons, which is part of the reason these two are both willing to make the Aghanim play early. Now, in sonicam's case, this was pretty much his only option. In Rywek's case, he had a couple others. Secondly, they will not be able to get the sword off of Uncle after killing Aghanim because there are bushes in the way of all entry points to the secret passage that the bunny can't deal with.
Yeah, this is definitely doing Agatower without the Moon Pearl is always a bit of a risk, just because you don't read the list of things you could. Oh, speaking of a risk, Rywek just died at the top of Agatower.
That is not a fun loss when you've got to do this with Fighter Sword. Meanwhile, Sonic is about to start his Aghanim fight. Somewhere between 0 and 15 blue balls are going to pop out during this fight. 15 being the absolute maximum and most annoying, 0 being the pure luck chance. Rywek trying to make his way back up the tower as quick as he can. Obviously, there's a limit to how fast you can get up the tower when you're sitting there with a fighter sword and no other type of weapon, because everything takes long to kill. But it's not a major thing that's, game deciding. It's just a definitive time loss.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, any kind of death in a long dungeon like this, you don't like it ever, because that's time you're never getting back.
Also, I have lost track of these blue balls, but this is a pretty long Aghanim fight. So I'm guessing we're going to see a common play when you do Aghanim without a Moon Pearl here. Sonicam is going to go find a guard and bump into him repeatedly until he dies. And that'll activate a minor glitch known as Dungeon Bunny Revival. If you die in a dungeon as a bunny, and then you save and continue, you respawn as Link, because the game doesn't think you can be in a dungeon dying as a bunny. Now,
and with the sword, sorry about that. Yeah, no, and with the sword, I was gonna say with the sword in hand, Sonicam's going to be able to complete all the front half of escape, and might probably. I think. Do you have to walk out to do the back of escape, or can you death warp out and just do it that way?
Yeah, you can death warp out as well, and with that key in the first chest, he's actually going to be able to death warp at the end here, go back through the dark rooms in the sewers of escape, get the back of escape, come out in the sanctuary and get that chest, and then be able to continue his route around the light world. So this is actually a real smooth bit of routing here.
So small key in the map, first two items here in Hyrule Castle, which means everything else is going to be something of interest. May not be good, but it'll be something.
Yep, in fact, there will be 6 somethings to find here. Sonicam playing it very safe with this ball and chain guard, despite the fact that he's going to death warp, and that's the boots. There are few things that make a sequence break as valuable as finding the Pegasus boots at the end of it.
For sure. Like, that's an absurdly good find. And if, let's see, if necessary, he can, I guess, use those to water walk to East Dark World if he is late to the flippers, but that's, I don't know, it's gonna be interesting to see what he can do with those, other than just, you know, massive time gains.
Okay, so this is interesting. Rywek went and did Aghanim, and then immediately mirrored back to the pyramid and is now going to do Catfish, instead of having done it the first time he was up this way.
So with Mirror and Aga beat, save and quit puts you at the top of the castle, at the top of Hyrule Castle?
Yep, save and quit in the Dark World will give you the normal spawn options, and then in the Light World will put you right in front of the door to what is eventually Ganon's Tower, which is part of why having Aghanim done early is pretty useful in this mode.
Oh, the value.
And not much value in the back of Escape for Sonicam either. You did get a heart container, which are nice to find in hard difficulty, but nothing really major. And Rywek continuing his Dark World movement here. It looks like he is going to... Oh, he's going to take the port... Why would you take the portal? Okay, he realized there's no point to that.
Right. Bunnies can't swim if memory serves.
That is correct. Even with flippers, bunnies get a little bit confused what to do in the water.
So is this so this must be a pod play then for Rywek. Meanwhile, Sonicam's going to make his way into Kakariko Village as a bunny and try and talk to some vendors.
And so Bottle Vendor there with that 5 rupees was the only thing in logic. That said, or no, Sitkit is in logic too. But there are a couple other things you can do with some minor glitches while you're here. Oh, Lord, he found the bow on Sick Kid.
Wait, but you said Sick Kid is in logic, right?
The Sick Kid is indeed in logic.
So what you're saying is the pearl could be in the back of Pod now.
Yep, and this is also gonna potentially hurt Rywek if, like, Hammer's in Pod. He won't be able to finish the dungeon. But yeah, the bow could be on the Moon Pearl could be on the right side of Pod, or in a bow-locked backside of the dungeon. And Rywek's one bottle is full of a bee, so he's not going to be able to do any potion glitching. So if he gets bow locked, he's just bow locked. He doesn't have a way to avoid it.
Yeah, if we didn't have the instant bow lock, but if this isn't a small key, this is a small key, so he can continue on. I was going to say if that was not a small key, then he actually would have been legitimately bow locked from the rest.
Checks his hint, finds out that Pyramid Fairy just has some bombs and some cash, and nobody's ever going to go do that. We also know by this point that Pod is a crystal, because music tells us a lot. Sonicam can go check Cave 45, but can't pick up the item if it had been something better than 5 rupees. Belliam in chat pointing out that you could do a damage boost Super Bunny for K45 if there was something of value in there. It's just not the quickest thing to set up in that situation.
Getting some map info on Sonic AFSI with the new Dark World, or with the new bomb shop. Mire and Swamp are going to be 5-6. Although Rywek just told us that there's not going to be anything if you do those 2 dungeons.
And so far we found nothing in Pod. These are going to be the last few checks we can make here. Trying to play it extra safe with that bee, but the bee was a bit slow on the uptake and he still walked into a Kadango because of it. And Green Pendant is in Desert Palace, which wraps up all the useful knowledge of the map that we really need, except for where the last pendant dungeon is.
So Rywek just found the cape in the big chest of Pot.
Yep, that'll eventually get him the fire rod, but he's gonna need that Moon Pearl to be able to get to it.
And it looks like Rywek is going to take that little Aga portal there and make the Kakariko checks himself. Sonicam trying to make his way to Eastern Palace around all these Armos Knights. I guess he wants to do a dungeon revive in there too.
Yeah, the big trouble here is that Red Guard up top who does a heart of damage per hit, and Sonicam does not exactly have a lot of health available. And worth noting as well that Rywek did not choose to do Dungeon Bunny Revival over in the escape area, so he does not have those boots yet.
He is going to get his hands on that bow, though, and be a little sad about when he went to Pod, because now he does have 2 more chests over there to look at.
Sonicam is being real insistent on trying to make this Eastern play work. He has moved on at this point, but...
Does that cape for Rywek open Laser Bridge?
Yes, Laser Bridge would be in logic now.
What an absolute mess. It is far too early in the morning for this.
Yeah, there's still a variety of places they could get to that are in logic that are just inconvenient to do. You can get to the mire area, the mire shed. You can go to a good chunk of T-Rock and get it out of the way. But there are no, like, easy, quick options, really.
Yep, Rywek's going to take that bow hint and try the last two items on the right side of Pod. And I presume TR after this, or he can take the long walk to Mire Shed, or the long. Well, wait, how would you do that? You portal Adaga, walk the desert, Mirror, I suppose.
Yep, that would be it. Also, Sonicam has spent a lot of time trying to get into Eastern, which is really leading me to believe that he doesn't know the floating island is in logic, or is just really opposed to going back up Death Mountain. But I'm sure Sonic knows that this is 100% a sequence break, and he just spent a whole lot of time trying to find a way in here.
I will say this for Sonicam, at least with the bow, Eastern is completable, so he won't ever have to worry about coming back. And so, 3 items, and we're gonna see in a little bit what he gets out of the deal. Rywek coming up to these 2 chests here in Pod. We're gonna find a small key and the blue mail.
So Pod wasn't the answer. So let's see, we're looking at the T-Rock chests that are available. We can get the Mire stuff that we can get to. Those are really the main 2 things still available. The blacksmith chain is also available. That's just kind of a very slow combo for not a whole lot of payoff.
I think Rywek's going to try that center chest of Skull and be disappointed there, too. So far, just a big key and a compass over here in Eastern. Sonicam working his way around these Stalfos.
You missed the quick kill that everyone uses on that room and had to deal with all 4 Stalfos instead of the 2 we try to make spawn. We did find out some caches with a Great Fairy, which could mean Waterfall Fairy also has cache. More likely is just a duplicate hint about the Pyramid Fairy.
Rywek's slowly putting the pieces together of what he might have to do. After, I mean, this is a real test for both of these guys to figure out. And Rywek has all the pieces and still doesn't know where to go. Sonicam doesn't have all the pieces and is just trying to make it up as he goes. And we've also, I think we lost connection on Sonicam's side.
Seems that way, and yet there have been a few things in this so far that are kind of the quirkier part of inverted logic, and with it being still at this point only a couple months old, there are definitely some things that people just kind of drop out of their mind or don't think of. You could kind of see Rywek pause there on the menu for a moment, just thinking, what do I have available besides this? That said, he is now heading back up Death Mountain, probably going to be making a play into T-Rock, either at least Laser Bridge, maybe into the middle section as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Laser Bridge is going to have more than enough keys to get you around to the rest of the place.
This will require another walk through Paradox Cave, but thankfully with the blue mail, the mini Moldorms only do half a heart of damage instead of a whole heart.
So you see the little carve-outs there at the edge of the, at the edge of the cliffside. Some of those have been put in order to make this possible. Because, for example, Mimic Cave and a couple other places that you normally would have to mirror to, in this case, you can just fall at. You can just fall to.
We find sword number 2, so they know where their max sword of the run is at. Or at least Rywek does know that it's at Uncle. And there's the Moon Pearl. Absolutely lovely, locked away in the Laser Bridge is the Moon Pearl.
So flippers from... So you had to do the really wonky path to get to the flippers, to get to Pod, to get to the Cape and the back of Pod, which was a Bolov, so you didn't need to do the Sick Kit. But so you... Although logically you did, because you need 6 keys to get to the Dark Maze. And then you get the mirror from the pyramid on the way there, and then you go to Turtle Rock and you get your Moon Pearl and you're off. 42 minutes in.
Sounds about right. And worth noting for those watching in chat, it was mentioned in chat, we can confirm that Sonicam was a little bit stumped by the seed and forfeiting. Rywek will be playing out the rest of the seed because if he doesn't finish the seed, then it's a double forfeit and they go on to game 3. But presuming that he does get through the seed, then he will be taking the win on this game and this series. The flippers required on the floating island is 100% one of the more ridiculous things Inverted can throw at you. So it's not a very hard to understand thing to not know that's in logic. It's like I said earlier, it's a new mode. It's got some quirks that are easy to miss if you aren't super familiar with the mode, and that's absolutely one of them.
Yeah, we're definitely being exposed to a lot of edge cases, or at least the potential of a lot of edge cases just watching this seed play out. So it's, you know, totally understandable that it can fool even bracket level players.
Yep, I have been caught by that exact thing earlier in my time playing Inverted. That said, we will be hanging around to watch Rywek play out the seed, seeing what else it can do. As one of our tournament admins, Phileon, confirmed in the chat, the requirement to finish the seed is 100% a thing. So he's got to play this out. If he gets stumped later, then, you know, who knows what could happen. But he's just got to play through. He can go about this, and depending on if he has Urk up, he might not even know Sonicam is forfeited. I'm not entirely sure on that front.
Although that does mean Aghanim was not required for Light World access.
Yeah, that's very true. They definitely could have gotten around without having to do Aghanim. And to add one bit to what our tracker said in describing the situation, floating out ahead the flippers that were required to logically get to Palace of Darkness for the Cape for the Proloff laser bridge practically were required to get to the pyramid, which had the mirror, and the mirror is what actually allowed you to get into Laser Bridge. Whereas Cape, they could have bypassed even without ever stepping foot in Pod. Now Rywek rolling through the escape sequence here, going to be getting his boots down in the back chest, probably going to be doing pretty similar to what we saw from sonicam earlier, but instead of a death warp, he's got that mirror, so he can just jump right back to the start of the dungeon.
Yeah, Rywek's path around the overworld is going to be obviously much faster with the boots. With the, let's see, pretty easy stuff here. You veer back to the front, go to Sanctuary, go to Kakariko, and just pretty much play the game as you would start a standard seed, just 45 minutes into the seed.
And with the Moon Pearl, he now has access to the Fire Rod up on the bumper case, so you can pick that up. So he'll be looking for 4 things to complete the seed, for sure. One is going to be the book, required to get into Desert Palace 100% of the time in Inverted. One is going to be looking for the Cane of Samaria, which will be needed for Meyer and T-Rock. And one is going to be finding the hammer, or the medallion, needed for Meyer, and then the hammer, which is going to be required for a few things.
Yeah, so we're getting questions in chat about the forfeit. Yeah, sonicam just could not put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and considering what we've seen of the puzzle, it makes sense. It makes sense to tap out to this. So we're gonna, but Rywek will have to finish the seed out in order to claim his win and his advancement. So we're gonna be here with you to watch that and see how he goes about it as he picks up his 70 rupees and a full heart here, brings him up to 6.
Going to walk out of Sanctuary, probably going to head right over to the Death Mountain Ascent Cave, which is now Bumper Cave, get that Fire Rod. Taking advantage of the free heal from Zelda. They still do that in Inverted, just, you know, if you want to do it at an actual save and quit, you have to pay 20 bucks to do it. And they walk into the Graveyard Ledge, another case of the infrastructure developments that Hyrule has gone under in this mode.
Yep. A look at the one Mitz lock, the King's Tomb sitting here, and looking at we're gonna find 20 rupees at the King's possessions.
That poor king. And I don't mean that like, you know, unfortunate king. I mean, just, that's really poor for a king. Like, Rywek is sitting on almost 1,100 rupees, and the best the king could manage is 20? That's impressive.
Maybe it's an old tomb and inflation set in.
That could be. Back in that King's Day, that 20 bucks was worth 2 million rupees.
Rywek going to work his way into the newly located bumper cave in order to get his fire rod.
Using the hook shot, which is the definite developer intended way to get through that cave, but since you can also walk around the top of the pit in there, then you're able to get through there without the hook shot, which can be required at times.
Flying pole of the lumberjack tree with Aga 1 beat, no reason not to do this.
And it's a bee in a bottle. Hooray! Bees are pretty much useless at this point, but you know, maybe there's something you can do with them.
I mean, they're worth $100. I mean, the gold ones are worth $100 if we have a couple. Well, Rywek already used one, but you know, it's money.
That is true. And I do want to give a quick shout out to Sonicam, who is in chat right now. Yeah, it's I get what you mean. It's not that weird, but it's definitely one of those things that I don't know how familiar you are with inverted. I haven't been around the community as much myself lately, but it's definitely one of those things that is just kind of very unique, and if you haven't run into it before, it's hard to put together that it's a thing. But you killed it in the tournament, man, and very good job throughout, regardless of how this one went for you.
Absolutely, man. Making brackets in itself is an accomplishment. Second in the group to Zero Rush, 11-4 in the groups. I mean, you got none to be ashamed of by this. You just got bit by some of the weird quirks of the game.
Rywek using the mirror to go into the back of Skullwoods without having to walk through all the stuff in the front, which is significantly quicker with less screen transitions. Gonna have a pretty straightforward moth fight at this point with 7 hearts and Tempered Sword. Yep, this is our 3rd pendant in Skullwoods here, so we are going to be getting another pendant, as well as we now have all the map information we could need. Rywek making the mistake at the start of that fight that I confirmed on Restream before mentioning of trying to spin Mothula with the Tempered Sword. Now, the way Mothula is programmed, long story short, Butter Sword does not in the vanilla game do any damage against him. In the randomizer, the devs have made it so that Butter Sword is treated as Tempered Sword in the Moth fight. But that being said, if you spin with Butter or Tempered, you still do Butter damage, and it just doesn't even touch Moth.
So Skullwood's down for Rywek. There's gonna work his way finally into Kakariko Village and take care of the treasure trove from here.
If he did the well with Super Bunny earlier, but you can't use bombs as Super Bunny, so now he's coming back to blow up this wall and get his last item. And it was the single arrow, which, by the way, is considered a unique item by the hint, so getting it has a little bit of value in V30, because when you see an item, a hint saying a unique item is blank, well, I mean, you know it's not the single arrow, which ups its potential value.
Right. Most unique items are actually pretty useful, even if it's there's ether and 50 rupees down here, along with 20 rupees. But yeah, most unique items that the hint system gives you are actually pretty useful. Some of them are fetch quests, and one of them is the single arrow.
We add in the Cane of Burna in Blind's Hut, which is practically useless in inverted, or not in inverted, in hard difficulty, because in hard it doesn't give you invincibility. It can still be used to do fighter sword damage to stuff, but, you know, it's gonna be a very small range and very likely to get you hurt.
I've definitely seen that that lack of invincibility bite players in the past, where they just don't realize it's happening. So they'll use Burna to try and get through things and not quite understand that it's not working the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, and there are a few rooms in the game where it does work as intended. The Spike rooms in Mire and Ice Palace, Spike Cave itself, as well as Laser Bridge. Anywhere that the cane can be logically required for invulnerability, it's still a thing that it gives invulnerability. But outside of that, yeah, it can be a little bit off-putting.
And anything that logically requires invulnerability, I believe, also means that the cape in those rooms works at normal, or the cape in those rooms drains at normal speed. Those are the words I wanted.
That is correct.
So Rywek's going to work his way to the smiths here, with the mirror being reversed. You do have a little tight little pocket of land to pick up the smith, and Rywek has paused. Here we go.
If I had to guess, given the time frame, no wait, never mind. It might have been some chatting in the Yerk though, because I know him and sonicam did talk a little bit after the forfeit there. And Sonic did play out a little bit longer than the stream shows. He didn't just spontaneously forfeit mid-dash as he is on screen. So it may have been about the time when he forfeited, and they're kind of chatting a little bit about it right now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this was a painful opening. So go ahead and we're going to go ahead and put the runners' links here in chat. Go ahead and follow these guys. Pair of very talented runners. And that way you can help support what they do.
Absolutely. We are getting a purple chest play, which is just kind of running it through the world, and then we'll mirror over and check the Mire area once it gets through purple chest, most likely. Also, Elminster pointing out the real pain here, that Rywek's menu time just gathering up. Rywek not stopping over to check the dam while he's on his way over here, but he's going to head back that way, due South Shore. Maybe even dip into the first chest of swamp while he's here?
Well, he's got hookshot. He can do the whole front half if he likes. I mean, not that you want to, but it is there.
He's missing that hammer.
Oh, yeah, I got that backwards. Yeah, that's true. Well, so yeah, one chest and one hint tile available.
And sometimes it's useful to just dive in there and grab it, because if the hammer is there, you're gonna have quite a long walk to get back that way. But not going in there is the safe choice, so to speak. Mini Moldorms did not want to meet Rywek's bombs. And we get a third bee in a bottle. We're 3 for 3 so far.
And the Cane of Samaria. So that's going to put us two, maybe 3 items from Go Mode, depending on Myers Medallion setup.
Just looking for that hammer and that book. Because in all dungeons, you will need the book in every seat of Inverted. Now, if you're not doing all dungeons, if you're just doing Defeat Ganon, you might not need the book if Desert is a pendant. But in all dungeons, you're gonna need it.
Well, there's a fun spot for that.
Oh yeah, just lovely. So I'd just like to say, Rywek 100% making the right choice coming South Shore before going over to the Mire area. Since now when he goes there, he can get all of the items or he can full clear Mire, I should say, as well as getting all the items in that area, instead of just being able to dip the front half of Mire if he has the medallion.
That actually, oh boy, that actually opens up pretty much the entire world to the location of the book, though, which kind of serves as a mini ice rod fetch questy thing because it literally only locks Desert and its 2 items and the tablets, but we're not worried about those.
In this case, it also locks the pedestal, which, depending on that Mire medallion, may or may not be dead. We'll find out whenever we get over by Mire if there's any hope for it or not.
Actually, yeah, we're being reminded the Desert is a pendant, which means the book can also be in Ganon's Tower.
That would just be so rude. Also, Rywek showing off a valuable point about water walking. If you have the flippers and you're water walking, the very moment you step on shallow water, your water walk ends, and you're gonna have to start swimming.
So Lake Hylia has a heart piece. Rywek going to go ahead and pick that up, showing off the little bridge that they built to make that work.
Yep, the heart pieces gather a little bit more value in hard mode. If it were normal, I highly doubt you would see any runners in the brackets going out of their way for a piece of heart. But in hard and expert, yeah, it's very possible. Blue potion from the fairy. That's actually quite nice. Gonna empty out some bottles and throw some more stuff in.
Gonna clear out the bees from his bottles too. So this is gonna be nice. Getting 2 or 3 blues out of this deal.
Now taking a moment to meditate underneath the waterfall.
I
feel like that would be very uncomfortable in the real world, but Link looks pretty happy with it. Also, we had that hint that there was some cash at a Great Fairy, and it turns out there was cash at all Great Fairies.
Zora with an item of interest, Bombo's medallion, which may or may not get us into Mire, but at least we have it.
Yep, it'll also help make Ice Palace a little bit easier, but we're now up to a 66% chance that all we need is Book. Using up a blue potion and then throwing his bottle in to get it back, and probably headed to Ice Palace next. So at this point, if you're Rywek and you've got everything you need except the book needed for a pendant dungeon, do you just start rushing every crystal dungeon, and once you're done with them, head right into GT?
Yeah, that's probably the best idea. Although, I mean, you don't want to like crash the bosses. You don't want to go crazy and like skip a ton of chests along the way. Just clear what's in front of you, get to GT, and see if it's there.
Entitled giving Rywek a very valuable hint, telling him to go to the next room. I don't think he could complete the seed if he didn't listen to that hint.
And that being said, it would have been funny had somebody come into ice without the fire rod and been given that hint. It's like, wait a minute.
That would be pretty good. Just like, but I can't do that. First chest, big key for Ice Palace, so you hope for a small key first. You can route this dungeon relatively conveniently. That's not what happened, but you can hope for it.
Yeah, ideally you want a small key in either the first chest there, or even double freeze ore works out okay, because then you walk back upstairs and go across to 3 on the right.
Another valuable hint: if you walk away, you spawn that Stalfos and can do this quick kill. This game is doling out the good advice.
Rywek gonna opt a bomb jump here. Doesn't have to do this. He's got Cane, but it makes the end of the dungeon easier if you find the items early enough.
Yeah, it puts you in a position where you can just kind of get through it a little bit smoother, even if, you know, you have everything to do it the right way, or to do it the easier version of the right way. It's still just a little bit nicer with the bomb jump. And item number 1 out of Ice Palace is 20 bucks, so that's not a big deal. Sets up a minor bomb jump across that gap, gets the first try, and now can head up to the right side over here.
There's the purple chest hint. Took care of that ages ago, but it's there.
Yeah, finally Ice Palace stops just giving basic game advice and decides to tell Rywek, hey, that thing you did earlier, if you forgot, it had cash.
So 3 chests here on the right side of Ice Palace, up on floors B3, B2, and B1. Let's see, first thing you do is pull this little tongue here, that opens the door. Pushing the button gives you the fire shield in this case, so that's our second item. And then up here and then back down to do these 2 chests.
And
well, don't even do the other chest, because there's our third item and we can go straight to the boss.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's a nice, easy ice palace. That's a friendly ice palace. You don't see that often.
Yeah, 3 items and 4 chests is about as good as you can do it.
And worth noting that Rywek is now at maximum possible equipment for the seed. He's got blue mail, fire shield, and tempered sword, and the butter sword, mirror shield, and red mail are all removed by hard mode.
I did count items right? Rywek's still checking chests here.
Yeah, I think he wanted that small key, so you could go into the side room. Oh, no, maybe not. Well, I had an idea, but that was not the case. Maybe just trying to double check what he had going on.
Yeah, it was a good thought. Maybe he didn't expect the Ice Palace to be that friendly.
To answer a quick thing in chat, there is no possible variation attached to inverted in the tournament Pikalax, so you cannot put Kisandi with inverted. You can do expert inverted, but not with Kisandi. Inverted is always going to be no variation. The actual reason for that is because Inverted was so new at the start of the tournament, and there are so many possible things that would be forcing people to learn, as well as it's the more variations you add on, the more odds of a missed soft lock, etc. So by just kind of keeping it limited on that, it was pretty confident that Inverted would work, no issues.
So Rywek is putting the pieces of the map together. He finds out he's got 2 pendants in his possession. 2 pendants, 4 dungeons out of the way out of the 12 that he's going to need. And it looks like it's going to be an Eastern pod double dip from here.
Yep, I think the ideal for the crystals is to wrap up at Tower of Hera at this point, because it's most out of the way, and also because if you're in the light world when you finish crystal number 7, you can just mirror right over, or you can just save and quit and be directly in front of Ganon's tower.
And we're actually going to get to see what sonicam was able to get in the rest of Eastern.
What if we find Book in the back of Eastern? It's like we could have known exactly where Go Mode was back then, but the stream cut off just in time to keep us from knowing. So the early part here, we know. We are going to get the big key, we're going to get a couple of useless things, and then we'll kind of catch up, or we'll get the hint about the Great Fairy with cash, we'll get the cash in the big chest, and then we'll have a little high five. It's going to be the rare cross-temporal high five, with Rywek high-fiving sonicam, you know, about 35 minutes in the future.
So we're just going to clear up what's going on here in this seed. Rywek already leads the series 1-0. Sonicam had difficulty with some of it, with a little piece of inverted's logic that required walking as a bunny to the floating island to get the next item in the progression chain, which is just something you just do not see very often, even if you do play a decent amount of inverted. So Sonic is tapped out, and we're going to... But in order for Rywek to take win number 2, he's going to have to finish the seed. And once he does that, he will move on to the top 16.
And interestingly, Rywek not going to the Vanilla Big Key chest. I'm guessing that means I missed something and there's actually just a map and compass left?
No, because I think there was map in the first chest. I think Rywek is just taking the coin flip that Armos is going to have third item.
That could be. That's a risky move to make. So here's an idea. Book in the Thieves' Town big chest.
Boy, we really will be here for a 230 seed if that's the end result. Oh, geez, there's going to be an item in the Eastern Vanilla Big Key chest.
Yep, so there's one person in the world who knows what that item is, and it's not any of us.
Well, there's about to be about 300 more when Rywek takes care of this. You can't take a chance like this, not in this situation.
Yeah, especially being aware that your opponent has forfeited, trying to make the risky plays that to save a bit of time just isn't worth it. Just kind of going back in and being thorough is far better than risking playing out a seed for significantly longer, just trying to save a couple moments. I would honestly be very surprised to see Rywek leave anything behind in any dungeons until he finds that book. Grabs a key, and we are almost here to the moment of the high five. And there it was. Hope you enjoyed it, everyone. Rywek and sonicam meeting places about 40 minutes apart for that 10 arrows. And the quick mirror over to Pod, which Rywek has already cleared out with the exception of Helmasaur King, so he's going to go straight to the back, straight to the boss, and just take it out.
Yeah, easy as you like here. Just and you even got the cane to make this little trick, to make this little button easier. You don't have to sit here and slowly push a statue onto it.
The devs were so cruel putting Cane of Samaria as far in the game as they did, because when you play Rando and get it early, you realize just how many uses it has.
I can't believe how late in the game Blue Mail is, considering how much you have to do before you can even access it.
Yeah, and then you get red mail and the generic, game trope of, you're in the last dungeon, nothing matters anymore, here's the best armor.
Here's the best sword in the game. You can only use it on 1.5 dungeons.
Well, at least the butter sword, you also get silvers while you're grabbing it, and those are pretty useful. Here comes the Helmosaur fight. 17 hits to the mask with the hammer will break it. On the 9th hit right there, the mask chips, gives you a hint that, you're about halfway there.
And that's going to be dungeon number 6. Rywek's halfway home.
Yep, and he is going to save and quit. I'm guessing next up will be Swamp, followed by Mire. Okay, my guess was wrong. We're going to maybe T-Rock and Hera combo.
Yeah, no reason to save these mountain dungeons with Ganon's Tower having been relocated. So yeah, Turtle Rock Hera now makes perfect sense.
I'm just going to give a quick review for those joining us more recently, since it has been a significant amount of time. Sonicam did choose to forfeit this race. There was a rather mean logic chain early in the seed. You had to go get the flippers off of the floating island in the light world as a bunny, and use those to get the mirror off the pyramid, which got you into Laser Bridge, which gave you the Moon Pearl. Sonicam missed out on those flippers, did not figure out that he could get to that floating island. Just a little bit of obscure inverted knowledge that he didn't have. And so he ended up forfeiting after a significant amount of time, kind of just stuck with no idea how to progress. He went ahead and forfeit. So now Rywek is in the process of finishing out this seed, because if he does not complete the race, then it would be a double forfeit. He would not just get the win by default without having it finished.
And to Sonicam's credit, he tried every trick in the book. He tried multiple Dungeon Bunny revivals, among other things, to try and if he couldn't get to the flipper, just find a workaround. But it just was not meant to be.
Yeah, and there was a workaround available by way of a Boots water walk started in Skull Woods over to the east side of Dark World. But if you think you're looking for the Moon Pearl, you're not thinking I'm looking for the flippers. And it's already an obscure glitch to set up that water walk. You're not really going to even think of that one compared to a lot of the more reasonable minor glitches.
Right, I have to get to Pyramid is not something you think of when Moon Pearl is what's in your mind blocking your progression.
Rywek over here in Turtle Rock just getting loaded up with keys. He's got all 4 of them already, if I am correct on that. And to Element Chat, yeah, Pyramid Ledge had Mirror, which would have just opened the seed up for him, would have got him the Moon Pearl, probably given him a lot better odds of getting to Laser Bridge, and probably, if he knew he could get to Laser Bridge, would have driven him right past those flippers and kind of put it together for him. Oh dear.
Good times with the chomps.
You know, this room in particular just makes Mario look incredibly powerful, because Link can barely take like 2 hits from a Chain Chomp, and Mario can just sit there and eat those hits for a while.
So it looks like we're getting an interesting procedural question in chat about what could sonicam have done research-wise. sonicam could not have asked, like, Attorney Ed, like, he could not have looked to outside help for at least not another person to tell him what might be going on. He's got to figure it out on his own. He can research tricks, he can research routes, but he can't talk to anybody else about the problem. He's got to figure it out himself.
Yeah, and as someone mentioned in chat, if you're sitting in the brackets, the top 32 of a very, very competitive tournament, and you're to the point where you need to look stuff up, quite frankly, you know you lost already. It's not even worth looking it up, because if you're taking the time to try to figure something out that you don't know, your opponent probably already knew it and is well ahead of you.
Does Rywek not have the Turtle Rock Big Key yet?
He should?
Well, he can't open... Hold on. Well, no, he got 2 small keys out of the laser bridge, so no, he doesn't have it yet. Which I guess means Big Key's gonna be in Roller Room?
Yep, that'll be it, which is... that's awful. This seed is just taking advantage of every possible way to make T-Rock terrible. So this room, if you ever have to go through this room in Inverted, if you are unfamiliar with it, especially if it's in the dark, when you're going through from Laser Bridge to the front here, all you have to do is hold up. If you don't let go of up, you will just find your way to the door without fail. Also, Rywek, going back for the big chest, my personal choice would have been to go mirror back, kill Trinex, and then, if he didn't have the book, come back in for the big chest, because you're going to have to go out of the dungeon, back in the door, and then all the way back around to check this now, instead of just checking it after you walk out the front door of the dungeon when you kill the boss.
Yeah, I think Rywek's just piecing that together because he got to the door and realized, oh wait, I can't access this from here.
Yep, more inverted fun times of, this is not how this dungeon is supposed to work.
I'm honestly not sure what's scarier, the fact that somebody had to, that you know, people have to play this stuff, or somebody had to piece it all together and write it.
Now, on the bright side for that, the inverted logic for T-Rock isn't too crazy of a new thing, because it's been mostly under test for ages, since in major glitch logics, especially overworld glitches, you get that ability to jump into the dungeon at any door anyway, so it was already written. Now we're heading down to Trinex. Okay, and a fair point being raised that Laser Bridge is not an overworld glitch logic, but it's at least in major glitch logic as far as I'm aware, as well as that would also be covered in entrance rando logic, so there were a lot of resources to help make Inverted better that were kind of community tested and grown over time.
Yeah, Balia's got a good point. Entrance probably has a lot to do with some of the inner workings of Inverted because Entrance works the same way, or at least the way Entrance moves caves around kind of allows it to work the same way as these sort of inverted scenes.
One day we'll have another entrance shuffle tournament and everyone can find out just how evil this randomizer can really be. Also, that was a fantastic phase 2 of Trinex. He got it pretty much perfect.
Yeah, so if you want to know where guys like Gem, Ack, Parade, if you want to know where guys like that cut their teeth, it's gonna be on Entrance, because they've been playing that Entrance rando pretty much forever. You know, even you know, guys from the past like Double A and Jay Coper, and that's how they got this good.
Yeah, Entrance will both force you into some more difficult situations in terms of low percent stuff, but also is a routing pain, and the more you practice routing that, the better you're going to be at routing your way through the world and making use of the paths available. First thing in Tower of Hera is the small key, so if this next chest isn't the big key, we'll be headed to the basement.
Hey, we found our boots hint.
Hooray! You know, really, Rywek could have gotten here without the boots, and then that would have directed him to him, and it would have just felt so bad to go in there and be like, oh. So heading upstairs now, 2 items in Tower of Hera, still just looking for the book, which unfortunately could be in GT if it so chose. And instead we find the flute, which does absolutely nothing for us except for if Rywek chooses to activate it, he could get to Meyer slightly faster.
Yeah, flute's more of a quality of life item in Inverted because of the way the desert area works now. But, you know, good to have. We got both items in Hera, so we don't have to go to the basement, thank goodness. And Rywek's going to work his way through this Moldorm. Quick spin here. Must have gotten a poke in there on accident. And there is the Moldorm kill. And that's going to give him dungeon number 8.
Yep, his next goal is going to be Swamp Palace, and then probably Misery Mire following. And if he still doesn't have the book by then we'll start our game of where in GT is the book. I'm gonna go get Spike Cave out of the way while he's here, since, you know, that's a very annoying location.
See, the king, that must have been like where the king hid his actual money, because he didn't want to be buried with it.
That could be her. He knew there would be grave robbers sometimes, so he just put his, fortune away somewhere that was, the actual tomb was like just a false floor. And that's really where he wanted stuff kept.
So Swamp Palace in Inverted is not as annoying as it is in regular modes, because you only need to make one mere transition. You go to the light world, come drain the dam, and one mere click over to the dark world will get you in.
Yep, it's a little bit friendlier. Not a lot, but a little. First things first, our hint tile says, aim at the eyes of Goma. Not very useful for this game, but if you play pretty much any other Zelda game, it'll be helpful.
Although in this game, aim at the eyes is a pretty universal hint.
That's very true. And honestly, if you use the bow on the Tektites, which are the most Goma-like thing in the game, it's actually very effective.
Actually, that hint does make me think of a question that I had that I heard about. Aren't there more joke hints in Hard?
Okay, so from what I've been told by others who I trust the comments of, there are not. I know early on in the beta version, at the very least, of V30, that was a thing where there were more joke hints as the difficulty went up, but from my understanding that has been removed, and I haven't actually gone to verify that, I just kind of trusted the words of those who told me, so as far as I'm aware, no.
Maybe it just feels like there were more this seed, because that must have been all 3 then.
Well, there were definitely more than 3, but there's a chance of more than 3 usually. I think it's a range of 3 to 5 or 3 to 6.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, that makes sense. I always thought that was just locked in at 3. But okay, no, if there's a range, that makes sense too.
Yeah, it chooses X amount of specific item hints, and then after that it fills in the remainder with the joke ones. And Rywek over here making the straightforward choice of, I'm 1 item from Go mode, probably. I'm gonna go straight to the back of Swamp. Of course, we still don't know if the Quake Medallion is required from Misery Mire, so we may be 2 items from Go mode, who knows.
So there's the compass. Have we spotted the map yet?
I do not believe so. I believe that's the first dungeon item set we've seen with the compass and big key there.
Alright, so we're on, well, let's see. Combining big chest and left side, we're on pace for 2 items. So we'll see what Argus drops.
I'm gonna feel bad, but I'll probably laugh a little bit if Argus drops the book and Rywek leaves and goes to Mire, and then Mire requires Quake and it was on left side. Gonna go for the Argus kill, gets 1 spin. Second one, he menued to the Fire Rod, but then realized that his magic is very low and doesn't really have the option.
All right, so that's compass and map. So there are 3 items still left in here. 1 in the big chest and 2 on the left. He's probably coming back.
Yep, we're right back in to look at these 3 items. Gotta love inverted. Deciding, you know what this game could use? Another ice rod.
Well, that's what's great about Key Sanity. You know what this game could use? 6 ice rods.
And 7 more for fetch quests. And there it is. We'll find out soon if we're in go mode. Gonna have to see if that Meyer medallion is Quake or one of the other 2.
Or do we get to burn Mentos Van 8 at the stake?
I'll accept that fate if it means that this seat is just that mean.
Hey, look, silver arrows. How about that?
And Rywek still not gonna go check that Meyer medallion. Gonna go right into the desert, grab his big and small key and those silver arrows, and then head right to the boss.
Desert Ledge seems like a coin flip as to whether that's actually a time save. Maybe, I mean, I think it is a time save to go pick those up, but not as much as it would normally be.
Yeah, for the Ganon fight with Desert Ledge, especially since you have to go out that left door desert anyway, it's definitely a time save, but we're talking, 25, 30 seconds, not something major. Okay, and Rywek checking the extra chests over here, I guess, aware that Meyer could be Quake and being like, well, I'll check some of these.
Mentos?
Oh lord. There aren't very many unique items left, and there's only one that we could possibly need.
Like, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. All right, question chat. We're gonna go ahead and recap today's proceedings. Today's inverted seed that sonicam and Rywek got was pretty darn nasty in the beginning. What it ended up requiring was for you to you get your lamp and glove. That's easy enough. You go up to Death Mountain. You work your way past the Lionels. You get mitts somewhere along line 2. And you end up going to the light world as a bunny to get the flippers from the floating island. You take those flippers from the floating island, and then you beat Aghanim for other reasons to get to the pyramid. And then you get the mirror from the pyramid, you go to Pod, and you get the cape. So with your mirror and cape, you go back to the dark, you go back to Death Mountain, and go walk around, go back into the light world Death Mountain, walk to top of Light World Death Mountain, drop onto the laser bridge, mirror there, and that's where the pearl was. And sonicam didn't know that you could bunny to the floating island to get to those flippers, and because of that, he went ahead and tapped out of the seed. Rywek still has to finish the job, and it's going to be. And if he does so, he will take the series 2-0 and move on to the top 16.
Just, oh, there it is. There's the kill of Lambo. Not the perfect fight, but 2-cycle ain't bad. In response to chat, yes, that is disgusting. But it's definitely something that I've seen Inverted do before. It's terrible, it's cruel, but it's definitely mean. And relatively not common, but not horribly rare.
Mentos?
Listen, I'm just saying, I would have checked left side swamp while I was there. On the bright side, he got that hint saying there's a unique item on left side swamp, so maybe he'll go right back there.
There's an item on the left side of swamp and the shovel, which means there's an item in a fetch quest. You're
Okay.
sick, Mentos.
The seed wasn't as cruel as I am, but that was very close.
$146.10. Rywek has finally hit go mode with 10 dungeons already out of the way. He's gonna mirror in front of this, in front of the statues here, work his way into Mire, and get crystal number 7.
So just to see, are we on the same page to expect that the Mire Big Key is going to be in the last location he checks in here?
Is it going to be that dumb chest right next to the big chest? I don't have a better name for that chest than the dumb chest.
That's actually a pretty descriptive name for it.
It should be so easy to reach, right? But no, you gotta go one way, then you gotta get a key, then you gotta hit a switch, and then come back around, and then there's like 3 other chests that you can check along the way. So yeah, just a dumb chest.
You could also get there by going through everyone's favorite room that nobody knows exists in Mire.
The fish room. Oh yeah, the old Alucard special. He used to love pathing that thing in.
I'm always tempted to just route through there a couple times, just to see how many people are like, what is this room?
I mean, it's a legitimate question. Why is there a fish skeleton room in Misery Mire? Oh, it's a God Mire.
So the seed lets Rywek do exactly 1 dungeon that he doesn't have to clear in full. But yeah, it is definitely an odd room, because even if you're playing this vanilla, not randomized, there is literally no point to ever step foot in that room. So at this point, to give the idea where things are going from here, Rywek gonna kill Vitreous. He is going to probably walk back into his mirror portal in front of Mire, at which point he'll save and quit. That will put him directly in front of Ganon's tower. He'll go in there and he'll have to search for the big key and then go kill Ganon, and it'll be pretty straightforward from here on out.
So Rywek doesn't have silvers for this fight because it's hard mode. You can't use silvers on anything with Ganon. But he has everything else you could possibly play. He's got Cave, Tempered Sword. He can fall into the pit. He can do boot stashes. He can approach this however he likes.
Yeah, if you want ultimate safety with how fast Cape drains magic in hard mode, press the Cape, and then slash your sword like mad. While you're slashing your sword, your magic doesn't go down. You can keep it up pretty consistently. Look at how slow that magic is going compared to how fast it will go once he stops swinging. Ooh.
Or he turns it off on accident, probably.
I think probably turned it off intentionally, just didn't expect the lightning to go right on him when he turned it off. So we get to see Meyer again. Welcome to Meyer. Definitely the first time we've been here. Meyer 2 is, you know, pretty straightforward. Kill the Wizrobes and the Popos.
Question in chat: what happens if Rywek forfeits now? Well, it's a draw, and so game 2 completely goes off the boards, and we play game 3. But that's well, actually, wait a minute. That's actually a legit. I mean, it's not going to happen this time. It might not happen at all. But what does happen in terms of like the game modes that get used if both players forfeit a game, the same game?
We would have to have a tournament admin confirm it, but it would be presumably the same as a tie, where you would have to play the same rules as the seed that ended up in the tie. Finally, I'm confirming that the admins would be very mad at him if he did that.
Yeah, that makes the most sense, where you just essentially rerun. It would be a game 2B, essentially.
Yeah, I think the main thing on that is probably hasn't been thought about much because it's not something anyone expects to happen outside of extremely rare, okay, let's just do a rematch circumstances, which would be decided pretty instantly. Usually no one's going to do that because it just becomes a mess.
All right, we're gonna try this vitreous fight again. We're gonna just keep hacking away at him, hack away at the last eyeball here, wait for the lightning, and then turn off the tape.
Okay, now we're gonna have a very short time to talk about this. So we have a game to play that's gonna be ending very soon, where you guess between 1 and 22 on where you think the big key will be. Subs or those who have given at least 250 bits to the Speed Gaming Networks are able to enter for a leaderboard position. Everyone else can play along, but won't get picked by the bot as the winner if they are not a supporter. I expected this to go by very quick, but Rywek's hanging out at the door of Meyer for a while, so that was a little bit faster spoken than needed to be.
I think Rywek is just being a friend to chat, you know, giving everybody a chance to get their guesses in.
And so while we're hanging out here for a moment, where do you think the big key is going to be at?
I like number 9. That's just I think that's it's the fire snake room. It doesn't get a lot of love usually, so yeah, we'll go with number 9.
Sounds good. I think I'll go with my usual guess of 22. And here we go. He has saved and quit. He will spawn in front of the tower. And like you said, I'm pretty sure he was just literally giving chat time to guess.
We could not have timed that better, actually. I think that worked. That was almost like professional-ish.
So, interesting little bug with Inverted that I want to point out. If you have full health and Master Sword or above, and you get that crystal cutscene, and then you fire a sword beam, it fires a ring of crystals instead of a sword beam. It looks really cool. If you've never done it, try it.
Gonna write that down for further testing.
On that note, we got numbers 1 and 2 were a small key and some money, and knowing that he's already won, Rywek is just instantly going to do Tile Room to throw off anyone who guessed 22. At this point, I'm halfway expecting Rywek to just do some ridiculously roundabout route through GT, just to throw off all the guesses.
I could see tile room to full left.
And $5 in number 3.
Execution heavy room, this one here on the right side. There's a lot of movement involved. You gotta make sure to light all 4 torches before the top one goes out. It's just a matter of getting it. If you've been playing this enough, you're practiced at it, but still difficult stuff.
And then you get that rare seed where you have no fire rod and you gotta do the hardest bomb jump in the game to get that. 4 is $20, 5 a heart piece, 6 some bombs, and 7 also some bombs. And he's doing a pretty normal route other than that early tile room. Number 8 today was Bob's Torch, and that was $20.
We're gonna bonk across here to the Stalfos room to get 9 through 12 out of the way. We have a small key, a mushroom. That's not gonna help much, and 5 more rupees. So the path continues.
I'm gonna drop down here to the double fire bar room, see what's going on inside. And it's a piece of heart. So on to the fire snake room next. Yay! So 13 down, we are going to be coming up on number 14 momentarily. And it's powder, which means that we can probably go ahead and that we can probably say with certainty that the bug net was on the left side of Swamp.
Yeah, that's the last thing we have because the single arrow was like at the back of the well, I think. So yeah, bug net and shovel and swamp. Let's see, small key map. That means big key's gonna be right here. There we go.
That was 18.
Yep.
Sure, couldn't have been behind Ice Armos. Now, Rywek is a little bit low on health, and it's not very easy to get health back in hard mode, since you can't just powder anti-fairies. But there is the safety room on the way up GT you can stop in.
And he still has those blue potions from when he collected before ice. So congratulations to RD Walsh V for getting his fifth Big Key Guessing Game win. You get a 1-month membership to the Misery Mire Appreciation Society. Call 1-800-VITREOUS for more information.
And there's the double fairy for the full heal, and back up we go. And now it's just the gauntlet. 11 hearts, blue mail, tempered sword, silvers when he gets the Ganon. Rywek's really not got much to fear at this point.
Yes, I know. I got the number wrong. It's 188 Vitreous.
It could be like...
The other number doesn't work.
I was just thinking it was like, if anyone here has ever seen Scrubs, at one point, the one Dr. Turk gets the phone number, call Turk. They're like, it's too many numbers. And he's like, yeah, but it just doesn't count the last one.
Three-cycle land mode too, not ideal, but no worries here. Sitting at the 2-hour mark, Rywek just has to keep working his way up the tower.
Coming up to the next couple of rooms, which are the most satisfying to do, Wizrobe Room 1 and Wizrobe Room 2. I'm gonna have to use the lamp to light these first 3 torches with how low his magic is at the moment, but we'll get a full magic refill in the next room. Checks the map to make sure he knows where he's going, doesn't want to get lost while he's this close to the end.
It's interesting how these, how Ganon's Tower and Turtle Rock both are very, very well stocked with magic. You're never really in dire need of it up here.
No, it just goes to show how terrible Ganon is at planning. Like, if he just kept all that magic out of T-Rock, you could never kill Trinets.
See, Cold Stare is the right idea, because there are no big pots in the entirety of ice.
That's true, he's thinking ahead. And he makes sure that you need all your magic full to be able to break his shell. So, you know, he's not only limiting how much you get, but he's also maximizing what you need. And Troll Dorm the second goes down. Rywek shutting across and getting his 10 arrows out of the final chest of the game, leaving it a bomb as a present and walking away. We approach the Aghanim 2 fight, which is, you know, slightly more interesting than the Aghanim 1 fight, since you actually have to, you know, try.
Not when he's going to just line up like that in front of you. Like, there's an easy double. Oh, that blue ball kind of distracted him, so just 2-1 so far.
Two, 1-1. So final of 2-1-1-1-1. Now we just have one last fight. We gotta fight Ganon himself, who conveniently just flies out the window and immediately loses his ability to maintain flight and just kind of drops through the floor.
Easy as you like. The Ganon fight, done a million times by these guys. Tempered Sword, Silvers only make phase 4 easier. Nice spin off the torch to try and get a double spin. I'm not sure if he succeeded, but this is going to be like 1 cycle or 2 cycle here on the first phase. And we're going to work our way to the second phase.
You have an ideal situation, you can get a, what we call a 1-in-1 cycle. You get 12 hits before he throws the trident the second time, and then 12 hits before he finishes his first Fire Bat phase. 2-in-2 is significantly easier, and are a lot more common. Now, phase 3, you just need to hit him 4 times after he stops teleporting, which he has been very friendly about.
Ooh, yeah. That was a little dicey with that fire bat, but no worries. Got an arrow in. We don't need the torch glitch for this fight. And we're gonna stand here on the side, haul off with 2, 3, and not quite 4.
Just gonna light the torches one more time and casually walk up to Ganon and end him.
And the pig is exploding. And Rywek is gonna wait on this bridge, which is gonna take him to the top 16.
Yep, certainly not the way that anyone wants to move on in the brackets. You always hope to have good races with your opponents, but sometimes this happens and you do what you do and you go on to the next round and see what happens. And Rywek did dot done with a first place time of 2:06.13. So GG to him, completing what was all around just a very rude seed.
And we have Rywek in the setup room. We're going to bring him in shortly. Good game, Rywek.
Thank you. It was sad to see sonicam forfeit, but I am kind of glad that we didn't have to do match 3. I was not ready for expert.
I don't blame you. Expert is a whole different beast.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you like that early game logic to get you to the Moon Pearl?
My routing at the beginning was awful. Awful. I'm just glad that I remembered that you can get to the Sky Island in Button. If it weren't for that, I think I would have been stuck too.
Yeah, that was literally the deciding bit of knowledge. sonicam just did not know he could get up to that floating island and never got the flippers, which meant he never got the mirror, which meant laser bridge was never even an option. He did a lot of attempts at sequence breaking to try to make something happen, but only so far you can go without Pearl.
Yeah. I was actually running out of options. Once I got to Skull Woods, I was like, okay, I don't have any chests left. Where the heck is the Moon Pearl? And I had to think for like a good 10-15 seconds before, no, please not Turtle Rock.
Yeah, Turtle Rock had kind of slipped our minds for a bit too, even though but getting the cape out of Pod kind of brought that back to memories. Like, okay, this and the mirror opens Laser Bridge, and that could be it.
Well, it was the only option left at the time. So after that, see, it was pretty straightforward. I took my time, that's for sure. Like, my execution wasn't the best, but I was trying to give a bit of a show to the chat. Hopefully they enjoyed it. Hopefully they enjoyed the extra time or the big key guessing game.
We definitely got a kick out of that. Also,
and then I wanted to throw everybody off by doing the fire room.
Sounds about right.
Rywek, man of the people.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it was if you had been watching the restream at all, or if you caught in before it came up. But when you left after getting the book in Swamp, or actually a little bit before that, I'm like, what would happen if the book was in like the big chest, and then left side had the Quake medallion, and it was needed for Meyer? And then we find a hint that says that left side of Meyer has a unique, or left side of Swamp has a unique item and a shovel. And then we get to Meyer and it's Quake medallion. And I was a little bit relieved that Quake was in Checkerboard Cave.
I was not pleased when I saw that. I'm like, God no, that means I have to go back to Swamp. And then, yes, very, very lucky that it was in checkerboard. I was not in the mood to double dip swamp.
Right, especially because you'd gotten the book out of there. That felt like the end. That felt like it's okay. Yeah. We're good. We can finally get out of the seed, but not so fast, my friend.
Yeah, that's why I was checking all the chests in Desert Palace just in case. But yeah, thankfully, yeah, got the Quake elsewhere.
So this puts you in top 16. Congratulations on top 16. You get the inauspicious task of taking on the winner of Kyong and Superin Taylor when that match goes down. How do you feel about that one?
Neither of which I want to. Oh my goodness, I have an inkling that Kyong is probably going to pull ahead. I mean, he did go 15-0 in the groups, and facing Kyong, like, I'm shaking in my boots. And I can't go fast.
Well, I mean, nothing you can do but take the matchup as it comes, right? See what happens, right?
I'm gonna give it my all. I'm going to be gambling a heck ton, because that's probably the only way I can actually possibly take on Kyong. Or Super Ninteller, for that matter. Because if Super Ninteller beats Kyong, then I know that I'm going to have a very tough opponent.
Yeah, either way of the draw, that is a very, very hard match. But don't sell yourself short. You're pretty good at this game, too.
I like to think I am.
So yeah, that'll be. They haven't done any of their matches yet, if I'm right. So you'll be kind of sitting around waiting for a while for that.
Oh yeah, I will be watching very closely, analyzing every little aspect of their gameplay, and then perhaps I shall find a weakness.
And what if that weakness is expert mode?
Then I'm screwed. I have never even done an expert.
And it's pretty much the same as hard, just you get a few less hearts and you get Master Sword most, so you get to do fun Ganon all the time.
Yeah, and my favorite safeties, the bottles, are just not useful anymore.
Yep, drink up for this one heart. Yeah, absolutely. What a great plan.
Totally. And quarter magic.
So now sonicam was in chat with us earlier talking about the seed. So we're probably not going to get him in here. He's probably long gone now. But obviously we congratulate him on making it this far in the tournament. And let's see. You got any closing thoughts for us, Rywek?
Well, thank you both for commentating and for the tracking. I don't know who the tracker is. It's Reg?
Yeah, we got Rigaro. Twitch.tv/Rigaro for that one.
Well, thank you, Rigaro. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. This might be the last win you see on my side.
Yeah, it was a fun seed to follow along with, even with the unfortunate early forfeit. It was still very fun to watch you go through that seed and see all the stuff it made you do.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to throw it out there one more time for this broadcast to give both these guys a follow. Obviously, if you're watching recently, you probably didn't see much of any of sonicam while you were here because of the unfortunate stuff early, but he is a very good runner in his own right. He went 11-4 in groups and made it to brackets. That's not easy. Meanwhile, also give Rywek a follow. He'll be practicing for the top 16 stage of the tournament, having also gone 11-4 in groups and made it to the brackets. So both very worthy of the time.
Yeah. As far as the tournament action goes, starting at 1:30 Eastern time, we have Game 2 between Azazas and Jet 082. That's going to be let's see, Ganon Open Randomized Normal Seed. Azazas leads that series 1-0. Speaking of number 1 seed Kyong, he will be in action at 2:30 Eastern. Let's see. Neither of those matches have confirmed restreams yet, but we'll hope to get those up and running pretty quickly. Make X Willard J. Bradley on Speed Gaming 3 at 4.
I think you may have been looking at a little bit earlier copy of the schedule. The Asazaz and Jet race is scheduled to go on ALTTP Randomizer, and Kyong versus Super Taylor on ALTTP Randomizer 2.
Okay, yeah, let me refresh the page for that. There we go, we got it. Let's see, 5:30 Eastern Time. Dracaris, another top five runner in this thing. He's gonna I think he's the 2 seed overall. He's gonna take on Brewers fan JP in game 1 of their match. That's gonna be on Speed Gaming 6.
Gonna give a quick shout out of good luck to Brewers fan JP, having come from Group F and eliminated me from the tournament. I'm now obligated to cheer for both him and Jet, so I can say at least I lost to the winner. So yeah, with that, we'll be wrapping up. Any final thoughts on this one, Sports?
Well, this seed really showed the teeth Inverted has. I mean, it's a mean mode, especially if you're not practiced in it, and it's only been out a couple of months. It's got all sorts of little quirks and tricks and nastiness, and it bit a top 32 runner today. So so if you're in this, watch your logic and just make sure you keep all your bases covered. Other than that, we had a really good time with this one. Follow my broadcast partner, Mentos Man 8. He had a really good run getting to the very edge of the group stage before just missing brackets. Follow my partner on tracking, Rigaro, and follow the runners.
And a shout out to yourself as well. You did a very good job on commentary. I think this is the first time we worked together. It was pretty fun.
All right, and absolutely, that'll take care of us for this afternoon. We'll see you all on the rest of the Speed Gaming channels as our tournament continues. Have a great day, everybody.
See you next time.